Welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast in association with Simco Training. This is the weekly podcast where we share best practice, tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your dealership or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett. Now, some of you probably already know me as Skippy. I want to start by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Hi, welcome to another episode of Selling in the Motor Trade. Now, this one's all about book club, and we have to welcome back Jason Cranswick because Jason, when is the last time we did a book club? It's got to be,
mate,
6 months ago.
It's more than 6 months ago because I've changed my life since then. I don't think we've done a book club. I think we might have only done one this year. I reckon right at the beginning of the year because I remember doing it. So yeah,
okay.
Excited to do another.
So if you're new to Selling the Motor Trade podcast and you don't know what book club is, go back and have a listen to where Jason and we just talk about some of the books that we've read that we really liked and think, you've got to go and listen to this. Okay. So I've got one I want to talk about today, and Jason and I do this slightly different. I tend to listen to my books because I drive along in the car. I know Jason likes the hardback. He reads the books wherever possible. And this happened because when I first interviewed Jason, we found out by accident we read lots of the same books that shaped our early careers. So Jason, welcome back to Book Club.
Skippy, good to see you, mate.
So the book this time, your world has changed. You're going into coaching now, as to running a business. So C-suite to coaching with Cranswick Consulting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what books you've been reading during this journey. That's really which ones have you read, and which ones are we going to pick on today?
Do you know what? I've really enjoyed the last 6 months. Have been great for me because I've had time, which has been lovely, and I've kind of gone back to school after 38 years, which was a stretch, for someone that's not been to school since they were 16. There's a few different books that I've been going through. Daily Stoic, I really enjoy. That's one I'd recommend to a lot of people as we're all trying to navigate our way through the chaos that is life. The Daily Stoic's good. I spend a lot of time in my coaching talking about thinking fast and slow, which is all about sort of system thinking. Noise, which is another one by Kahneman, which is great because there's too much noise going on. Surrounded by idiots because we think we are. We're not. They're just different. For my academic, I had to study the Board's book, which if you want to sleep well, there you go. That's a real for you. But my absolute favourite and the epiphany I've had is The Path Through the Jungle.
The Path Through the Jungle.
Yeah.
I don't know this one. You need to tell us about the path.
Well, you kind of do, Skippy. I would challenge you there.
Okay.
You and I have both read Chimp Paradox.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Mr. Peters. What a brilliant book.
Yeah. Professor Steve Peters. So I stumbled across this one. I was listening to in fact, my daughter was listening to a pod. She said, Dad, you need this book. And it's called The Path Through the Jungle. And this is part 2. So Chimp Paradox, a lot of people are familiar with that.
Again, if you're not, go and listen to the podcast. Jason and I talked about the Chimp Paradox as one of the first books that we saw.
It was. Yeah. It was. Yeah. And it's great, I think, for our business because Chimp Paradox talks about the fact that in our minds, in our brains, there's 3 different entities. There's the chimp, there's the computer, and there's the human. And you'll all be familiar with the concept of fight and flight. Well, that's the chimp. The chimp is always the first to react. The chimp will try and take a reference from the computer. If computer says no, it then just acts. Invariably, that isn't good for you. But if it does consult the computer and says, hey, get out of the way, get the human involved, that's where things get a lot better. So in the first one, Sir Steve Peters, or Professor Sir Steve Peters, I think is his full title, kind of explores that. He gets the concept of the chimp, and there's a lot of people that kind of scratch the surface and quite like that one. But it leaves you with more questions than answers because it kind of introduces the concept that there's the chimp. It shows you kind of how the brain works, but you kind of leave it going, I need to know more. The path through the jungle is the knowing more. This is intended to be kind of like a 6, 12 month personal development journey of how you get to really understand your chimp, how you can reprogram the computer in your brain, and how you can get things into the hands of the human so much quicker. And it's brilliant. I really cannot stress this one enough. This is a must read. And you can skip the first one, go straight to
You
second.
can. You don't need to know the
Absolutely.
first.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Okay. So what did you get from that second book then? What are some of the specific learnings that you took around?
It really goes deeper, I guess, into the kind of the neuroscience, if we call it that, of understanding, kind of and it goes back to our survival instincts, our caveman days, that fight or flight that we spoke about. Um, and it's a very natural thing. And I guess in today's world, we're surviving on it a lot, that we're surviving on instinct. We react. Um, I say invariably, it will always be the chimp that acts first. And don't get me wrong, the chimp's not the enemy. It can be your friend. So the chimp can be the emotion, and that can be great fun and so on. But we'll have all seen it when we'll have done things, said things that suddenly we go, oh, I wish I could just put that back in the mouth. I wish I could have not done that. And that's because it's the chimp that's gone first. What the path through the jungle does, it gives you some really interesting methods and strategies for saying, okay, how do I get the chimp to check the computer, which is where all the logic is kept?
Mm.
How do I get it to know the signs of this isn't a chimp thing now? You need the human involved. This is going to inflame. I'm in a meeting with a colleague and it's not going well. How do I pause,
Mm.
breathe, regulate, get the human to now respond on my behalf? Because that's where the rational, less emotional, more logical responses will come from. And this book is great for giving you those strategies. But it's a heavy read. I mean, I don't know. Let's have a look. It's oh my God, it's 400 odd pages. So it's a
Yeah.
it's a tome.
Yep.
It took me, I don't know, a couple of months, I guess, to
Yeah.
read. Um,
But as you said, it's something that's designed that way for you to work through it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I love, and I'm just going to try and find an example here. Uh, it's full of pictures.
Ah, good.
I
That'd
know
be great
I
for
know the
me.
listeners can't see that,
It's
but,
great for
but
me then if it's pictures.
yeah, yeah. But through it, he does a great job of illustrating kind of the point. The chapter structures are really good. It'll kind of introduce kind of the topic.
Mhm.
It'll explore all of the philosophies. It'll give you some real life examples, and then at the end of each chapter, it'll give you kind of the 2 or 3 takeaway points as well. So you do genuinely go through a journey of learning. And I think the whole point behind this is, look, we are all in the jungle, the jungle being our world we exist in, the market as it is, the kind of challenges we're facing. The natural habitat for a jungle, is the chimp, so we're in a safe space there. But actually, probably more often than not, we need to get a more human, more considered, less emotional, more rational response to situations, which is where then that link between the computer and the human kick in. So it's not a heavy read. It's described as a psychological health and well-being program, which we could all do with, I'm sure.
Mm.
But I really, really do urge the listeners and the watchers
When
to
was
grab
it
a
written?
copy.
How long has that been
Do you
out?
know what?
Is
I've just
I've
looked at that, Skip.
yeah,
I'm gonna let me just have a quick look here. Um, yeah, 2021.
2021. Okay, cool.
So I
20,
suppose if you think about it logically, it's in our current era,
yeah,
post-COVID era.
yep, yeah.
Um, it was very much written, when you look through it, there's a high level of empathy in this one, which is, the world is a bit crazy. It's they call it VUCA, don't they? Volatile, uncertain, and ambiguous and so on. I think this has a high level empathy as to the fact that, cognitively there's a high level of overload.
Mhm.
We're all feeling high levels of fatigue, whether it's digital fatigue or process fatigue. And actually, you know, we all want to be we all want to be sort of instinctive in how we operate, but sometimes, having a bit of consciousness in there is no bad thing. There's another one I said about before, thinking fast and slow, which is all about system thinking. Very, very deep for today. Let's not go into it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what this is. It's all about reprogramming how we do things instinctively.
yeah. Very good. Okay, that is going on my reading list. Now, is that one I can listen to, or it sounds like if there's pictures there, I really need to
I don't
study
think.
it, work through it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need the book. I spent a lot of time in it. This version, I took the stickers out in the end, but you end up with lots of little stickers in it, little notes. I think you should take it as like a course book,
Mm.
like a notebook, and use it. It's it, it say it's not a heavy read. It's just a long read.
Mm.
Um, and I think it was, as I say, originally intended to be maybe a, 6 to 12 month program that people work through
Yeah.
for self-development. But it really does a lot of myth busting.
Mm.
Um, and I was in Turkey, of all places, about a month ago doing a global conference for a client. And we referenced back to the chimp right the way through it over a workshop we were doing out there. So it transcends lots of different languages. And yeah, I think it's a really good thing. 9.99 I think it was on Amazon. So it's not an expensive thing. That's the best 10 quid of self-development I think you'd spend other than
Great.
coming on one of your programs.
That's going to go on my well, actually my book is 14.95, so it's but let's not review words that sell cars, okay? I think people listening to this will know words that sell cars. Go and get it from Amazon, come and speak to us, but I'm not going to talk about that book. That would be wrong, okay? But the book I'm going to talk about is The Psychology of Money.
Oh, I've not heard of that one.
Okay, this is a bit different. Okay, now, Jason, because we know each other well enough that there's some money I've been looking to invest.
Yeah.
Okay, and I've been looking at buying into companies. I know you've been helping me talk about different companies of looking at and strategizing. Is this the right company to look at? Whatever. What can I bolt into Simco? We've been looking at lots of different stuff there. So that's why I've started reading The Psychology of Money. And what do the wealthy do? How do they invest? What do they put their money into? And this is something that kind of shocked me. One of the themes that comes out is some of the best people who invest in an American stock market
Yeah.
are people who are dead. Okay, yes, I know. People can't see Jason's look. As what? How did that work? What they mean by that is they've bought some stocks or some shares, okay, in a fund
Yeah.
and forgot about it
Uh,
and didn't play with it.
yeah.
And the time, because I'll sit there and look at virtue shares. Are they going up or down? What
Yeah.
should I be in there? Should I not? Okay, what about this one? What about that one? Then I had a look at where you'll know this, Jason, but we make a lot of our money out of property. I still invest in property quite heavily, but actually, that's because I buy it, leave it, and don't touch it.
Yeah. The hold.
Yeah, and then I this this worked out as well where someone else bought some Bitcoin and forgot they'd actually bought it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas the people would try and go ride the ups and the downs. Is it good? Is it bad there? But it's actually buying and holding. And it goes into the psychology of money that when people invest full time, these fund managers, they do it full time.
Mm.
Do we think we can try and pick the right stock
Yeah.
on half an hour?
Yeah.
Okay, listening to a podcast on how to do it? No chance. Okay, and then it goes into Warren Buffett. He's
Okay.
Warren Buffett. He knows what he's talking about. Charlie Munger as well. They know
Yeah.
what they're talking about. Warren Buffett said if he had his time again, he would just put it in the FTSE. Oh, sorry, he didn't say this. He said if he passed away or his children or family needed to look after stuff, he would put it into the S&P 500 or something like that, hold it and leave it.
Yeah.
Because over time, now here's the thing. Then it goes on to when do we invest? And but you know what? Thankfully, I read a book, Richest Man in Babylon, when I was 16, 17 years old, by accident, by fluke. Okay, richest man in Babylon. I thought, see, I wanted to be rich. Okay, I think this is what I'm going to do. Richest man in Babylon. And they said, the beauty of compounding interest over time, the
Yeah.
set and forget. And I can see that so many times that people sometimes maybe save what's left at the end of the month. And they said, you need to automate your systems. You need to turn around and say, that amount of money is going into this fund. And I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to touch it. And just keep on doing it again and again and again. Hey, listen, this is not what we normally talk about, but I'm into the middle of listening to that, not reading it. And there's so many aha moments in there.
Absolutely.
Where things that I've actually have done. Okay. And I bought my first buy-to-let home when I was 17. Tony Ireland was my first real boss. I would have been 18 then. And he dragged me into his accountant, his solicitor. He said, listen, you're a great salesperson, but it's just beer money for you. And I got on that track there. And I tell you what, that very first buy-to-let home, how well it has done over those years because of time. And I said it and forget it. And the great news, it's in Australia. I'm in the UK. I can't get to it.
You can't meddle with it. Yeah.
I can't meddle with it. I can't meddle with it. So bit different for us today, but that one there.
Bit different. Have you ever read Freakonomics?
No. No. Freakonomics.
Mate, you need to read Freakonomics. It links back to yours. And again, really, really interesting read. It's all around kind of the law of.
Sorry, but caveat, can I just throw in there? Business books bore me on finance and EBITDAs and what and that and that's why psychology of money is not. So is it a business book?
This is like the psychology of money. This is like the law of unintended consequences.
Aha.
So what it does, it looks at sort of like some of the economic upsides or downsides and what the true drivers of those are. And it's a bit like some people might have heard like the broken windows theory, which is cities in America where they have broken windows and then it drives them down a downturn in economic performance. If you just go and repair the window, then people feel better. And the economy grows, but the thing you fixed is the broken window, not the economy. Freakonomics is brilliant. It's a really interesting one. There's some of the linkages in there. There's one in there I seem to think that's linked to the sale of Pop-Tarts. The jam-filled things you put in the toaster. The price of oil. It's a really, really sort of tenuous link in there. But Freakonomics is a really, really good read.
Well, I suppose this ties us into how do we as humans talk ourselves into and out of recession? Well, I suppose, is that what it's going down? That sort of view as well? Like, because I'm trying to get my head around how these jam tarts affecting.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think it's a really interesting one, Skip. And when you look at why we do these book reviews, we don't do it just because we're bookworms. We do it because we want to share some sort of reflections and learnings with people. Our job as operational people, managers, leaders within the car industry is about trying to generate performance and growth, whether it's the sale of cars, parts, or hours. Understanding the drivers of economy is important to us. And you know what? It's really interesting because, we're all trying to motivate people to do things. There's a well-accepted fact that the fear of loss is more powerful than the opportunity of gain. So we've all come up with new incentive programs that haven't worked, but probably because we're trying to address that gain mentality, whereas actually, kind of the inertia of thinking we're going to lose something is even more powerful. So I think in all of this, we've all got a job to do, which is understand what are the levers we can pull, what are the mechanical processes that mean performance occurs, and actually what are some of those unintended consequences of the actions we take, which is why we joke about things like surrounded by idiots, path through the jungle, psychology of money. It's because if you don't choose to try and understand these things, then the likelihood is you'll never get the performance gains that you're looking for. Very profound there, Skip.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so Path Through the Jungle, that is on my reading list.
Yeah.
Okay, and Freakonomics. So Freakonomics, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
Listen, love this book club idea. So let's we'll keep on doing this. And thanks again for coming on the podcast.
Cheers, Skippy.
That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn. Thank you.